Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So as you know, we are studying about the glycosaminoglycans, right? So like previously studied about the glycosaminoglycan in two different parts actually. So there are some diseases that are caused in the defects in the synthesis of glycosaminoglycans, right? So as we know, the regular or the normal physiological processes, glycosaminoglycan synthesis requires enzymes that activate monomeric sugars, right? Transport them across membranes, condense the activated sugars into polysaccharides. All right, so the normal physiological processes, glycosaminoglycan synthesis requires enzymes that activate monomeric sugars, right? So the path is, so the glycosaminoglycan synthesis requires enzymes that activate monomeric sugars. All right, so we'll just draw a line here. So, all right, glycosaminoglycan. So their synthesis requires monomeric sugars, right? I'm sorry, enzymes that activate. I'll write it down. Require enzyme to activate monomeric sugars, right? Then transport this across the membrane. Transport across the membrane, right? And then condenses the activated sugar, this activated sugars into polysaccharides, right? And condense activated sugars into polysaccharides, right? And then after that, the last step is adding the sulfates. So this is a normal physiological process, but mutation in any of these enzymes in human can lead to structural defects in the glycosaminoglycan, right, or in the proteoglycans formed from them. So the proteoglycan that are formed from this glycosaminoglycans, right? So any of the defects in the enzymes, right, or in this process or a mutations, right, will lead to a structural defects, right? So the results can be any of a wide variety of defects in cell signaling. So defects can be, sorry, so defects can be like and a wide variety of cell signaling, right? This is one kind. Then there can be cell proliferation defect, right? Tissue morphogenesis, correct, or interaction with the growth factor. Interaction with growth factor. So these are some of the defects that can be seen if there is any mutation or changes in the enzymes, right, or of this process, right? So for example, a failure to extend the disaccharide unit, right? So the disaccharide unit is like GLC, right? So that we studied before, right? So this is a disaccharide unit, GLCA. So any failure to extend this disaccharide unit, right? So that as the disaccharides unit are extended, right, as we know, and then the polysaccharides are formed. So any of the defects in this disaccharide unit leads to a bone abnormality in which multiple large bone spurs develop, right? So defect in the disaccharide unit, right? In this unit, failure to extend this disaccharide unit, the disaccharide unit, failure to extend, and I will write it down here, failure to extend this disaccharide unit will leads to bone abnormality, right? In which multiple, what will happen? There will be multiple large bone spurs will develop. Multiple large bone spurs develop. Right, so when the defects occur in the degradative enzymes, right? So the accumulation, so this was the defects in the extending of the disaccharide unit. But for example, when the defects occur in a degradative enzyme, so the accumulation of the incompletely degraded glycosaminoglycan can produce diseases ranging from moderate, as in Scheie syndrome, so this is a moderate kind of disease, Scheie syndrome, right? So this can be like with joint stiffening, but with a normal intelligence and lifespan, to a severe disease, that is Hurler syndrome, right? This Hurler syndrome is with enlarged internal organs, heart diseases, dwarfism, mental retardation, and early death. So this is a more severe kind of a disease. So the glycosaminoglycan were formerly called as mucopolysaccharides, right? So this glycosamino, how they are formerly known as? They are known as a mucopolysaccharides. And the diseases caused by the genetic defects in their breakdown are often still called as mucopolysaccharidosis. Mucopolysaccharidosis. So this is mucopolysaccharidosis. So this is the diseases called. All the diseases that comes in this family, Hurler, Scheie syndrome, right? There are more diseases as well. Right, so the Scheie syndrome. So what happens in this is the disease caused by deficiency in the enzyme iduronidase, right? So this is caused by deficiency in the enzyme iduronidase, right? This is caused by the enzyme iduronidase enzyme, right? This will leading to the building up of the glycosaminoglycans in the body. Why? Because these diseases are this enzyme will help in the degradation of the glycosaminoglycan that are incompletely, right? That are incompletely degraded. And if this enzyme is not present, right? So this incompletely built glycosaminoglycan will build up, right, in the body, caused by deficiency in the enzyme iduronidase, with leading to build up of glycosaminoglycans. Glycans, alright? So this was Scheie syndrome, right? And the Scheie syndrome symptoms are what kind of glaucoma, retinal degeneration, facial dysmorphism, but it has a normal lifespan, right? Should I write it? Okay, so the symptoms right down here. Symptoms: glaucoma, corneal clouding, dysmorphism, but it has a normal lifespan, right? So the Scheie syndrome is the very mild and subtype of the disease, but the Hurler syndrome, so this is also known as the mucopolysaccharidosis, but it has a type sorry, so I'm going to use the right type, IH, right? And in short, it is written like this. So this is, or I will write it down, Hurler syndrome, or, and then also it is, so it is also known as gargoylism, right? And this is also a same genetic disorder, same genetic disorder. So what happens in this? So there is a buildup of large sugar molecules. Okay, do like this. So buildup of large sugar molecules, right? So in this there is a large buildup of large sugar molecules that are glycosaminoglycan, right? That is because aminoglycans, this glycosaminoglycans, where it is built up in lysosomes. So these are built in the lysosomes, and the inability to break down these molecules results in a wide variety of symptoms caused by damage to several different organ systems, right? So this, when this is built up in our lysosomes, so this and the inability to break down these sugar molecules will result in a large wide variety of symptoms, and it will damage to several different internal organs, right? And like this has a deficiency in enzyme iduronidase. This has deficiency in the alpha L iduronidase. It's also in that enzyme, right? And what this enzyme does? This enzyme is responsible for the breakdown of glycosaminoglycans, and without this enzyme, what will happen? There will be a buildup of dermatan sulfate and heparin sulfates occur in the body, and then the symptoms will start appearing, and the symptoms will appear early in the childhood, and early that can also occur, that usually occurs. This Hurler syndrome is also classified in the lysosomal storage disorder. Why? Because there is the buildup of the glycosaminoglycans in the lysosomes. Right guys, so this was the generally defects in the normal mechanism of glycosaminoglycan process that leads to polysaccharides, right, and the proteoglycans, right? And these are the diseases. This disease we will study in details when we will study medicine, but this is just a basic understanding as we are going through the topic, so like you will know, so like what happens when there is a defect in the glycosaminoglycan synthesis. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe the channel.